Hi everyone, happy Tuesday. Gotta wet my palate. This is like my second thing of coffee. This is what I drink. I wanted to talk a little bit about more of the voting irregularities. Um, Father Pavone is one of my new heroes, and I'm so glad I found him because, when he speaks, I feel like I'm listening to myself. He's really on point, and he says things perfectly. And sometimes I like to listen to what he says because you can always learn from Father Pavone. He's a stream of information, and he is a messenger and an example of God. Um, so I was watching what he had posted today, and in fact, what it's called, the title is U.S. Elections Exposed Tonight. Hear from someone who experienced voter fraud firsthand. So he talks to a young woman by the name of Kelly Piazza. Kelly Piazza. And she has an interesting story because it seems to be kind of a trend of one of the many ways people are being frauded with their identity in this election um, in favor of the Democrats, Biden. So let's get to that. So she explained to Father Pavone, Kelly Piazza was originally from New York, but she currently lives in Florida. She did register and vote for early voting, in-person voting for Florida. She had said that she's a very diligent, kind of like a little stickler. She likes to get her registration and everything completed early. She doesn't like to wait to vote for later. And so when she registers, she doesn't register as either party. She has always gone under independent non-affiliation. And she ended up voting for Trump in Florida. And she went on to say that, I'm not a fan of Trump or Biden or anything like that. I voted for Trump based on conscience and what holds dear to my values. And I completely agree with her. And I just want to say what I find offensive is I don't know who does it on Trump's Twitter, or somebody comes on the thread that I'm on and tries to degrade people who are for Trump, who believe in Trump's policies, and say, "Oh, you little Trump fans, they can't get over the fact that people have a conscience, do believe in God, do believe in fair process and law, and wish to vote for Trump or wish to be Team Trump." So, when they say, "Oh, you're a fan," they're just hating on people. So I just wanted to clear that up. And the next person I see on Twitter doing that is going to get 2 cents from me, whether they like it or not. So she went on to say that she ended up going to Michigan for law school. So she lived there for about 15 years. And again, she was under a non-party. And then she went back to Florida. So she didn't vote or anything in Florida. Long story short, she was seeing all this activity on the news with fraud, voter fraud. And she thought, well, she got to thinking, maybe I need to check this out. Maybe I need to call up Michigan and see if there's anything fishy going on. So she calls Michigan to find out that she's registered as an active Democrat, and that she had in fact requested a mail-in ballot, and someone, wasn't her, because she's not even registered as active or even as a Democrat, but they had her down as a Democrat. Somebody, not her, not Lisa, requested a mail-in ballot and voted for her. So when she called, she had a conversation with Michigan State. She asked to be removed entirely, and they said no, but we will make you an active. So you know what these frauds are doing for Team Biden is getting names of people who have moved out of the state, requesting ballots on behalf of them. Someone is fraudulently requesting mail-in ballots and voting for people who have moved out of Michigan State. And that's not only the only state that this has been going on in. That's just one of the tactics the Democrats have been using to gain a lead for the Biden victory. But again, it's a fraudulent victory, or a fraudulent lead. So another thing they did is they voted for her in favor of Biden using her maiden name because she's married. So they didn't even get her name right. They used her maiden name. So, you know, what we're finding is the Democrats don't respect or abide by the legal system. You know, they've been reforming laws behind the scenes, like Newsom, Cuomo, and a bunch of other ones. Like, you know, gang stalking and assaults is legal. The only way the police actually may even consider doing something about it is if your assault creates long-term effects. And that's not even true, because when I was on crutches for 6 months, when they got me 2 blocks from my house, Scientology cult, and the week before that, they were trying to catch me on the opposite direction. I had to change my route and they still got me. I was on crutches for 6 months and the cops didn't even want to they lied to me. I mentioned this in the video. They lied to me saying they took that police report, when in fact they didn't take it. And I gave the name in my past video on this of the officer who did that to me. And the day that happened to me and I couldn't walk and I was limping around in shock, I got fired. I still made it to work. I got fired. I couldn't walk. I ended up going to see somebody because I wanted to call the police from a safe place, and the police wouldn't even show up. The police wouldn't even show up to take a police report where I was at. So fast forward, I contacted the police in the future. And they took one of the reports when I got stalked and assaulted in a restaurant here in Hollywood, but they wouldn't take the assault that happened a week later, putting me in crutches for 6 months. So Governor Newsom, you know, and even prior, maybe before that, there's laws reformed to where you can get stalked and attacked, and the police really don't even have to do anything about it. It's legal to be getting stalked here in California, which makes me sick to my stomach. So these are the type of laws, and those are just some examples. Also, Newsom have reformed some laws to make pedophilia, that's just another example, normal to normalize pedophilia. So we got to crack down on these corrupt governors, these corrupt officials, and just get them out. There's a petition to get Newsom out right now. Anybody can look online, go sign that petition, or download it on your phone. So, you know, again, Democrats want to make up their own laws to fulfill their agenda with the stalking and attacks and everything going on to protect the domestic terrorists that they're paying, their brainwashed domestic terrorists. And they don't respect the legal system. And what we have to do as Americans, we as the people have to speak out and remind them that they need to follow the law. They have no choice but to follow the law, or we're going to get them out. Like, there's a petition to get out Governor Newsom right now. Because if we don't have a law to follow, it's going to be chaos. Like, it's been chaos. And we won't have a system. And the Democrats don't seem to care about that, as long as it favors their agenda, communistic, terroristic agenda. You know, they don't care about the difference between a peaceful legal protest versus attacks and riots and fires on people, or murdering police. They don't care about the difference between legal and illegal immigrants. Stop that. Stop that. Cat's making a lot of noise. Come here, baby. They don't know the difference between riots and attacks and fires and killing our police and they don't, peaceful protests. They don't care about legal immigrants and illegal immigrants. And again, guys, I said this a long time ago, the reason they want to give these people, these immigrants, free everything is they want to schmooze them with a free everything that they need and want to flourish and survive, as the left recruits them to be their domestic terrorists and come knocking on your door, come beating down on your business when they feel the need, whenever that need is, based on whatever that is. It doesn't matter. It's just, that's just, you know, it's going to get really bad if Biden is going to turn out to fraud this election and gain victory. I did do a reading last night on Biden, on Kamala Harris, and on President Trump. I'm going to talk about in another video today, and what that reading told me based on the presidency. So to go on with the story with Lisa Piazza, you know, another inaccuracy and unequal protection under the law that favors the fraud for the Democrats is, you know, voters got calls. If they were Democrats, they got calls by the people at the polling facilities to fix their ballots in case, you know, they left something out on the outside of the envelope, or they left some information out on the ballot itself. That is called curing, and Democrats got calls to fix their ballots. Republicans did not. And this is what, again, this is called unequal protection under the law. Some voters and votes counted more than others, and that is a huge no-no. And you're going to see that a lot going on. I'm going to do another video coming up on a few people who have attested to what was going on at these polling locations. So, you know, these ballots were ran through despite lacking information and having a signature, or the correct signature that matches. So you also have deadlines, ballots not being, arriving by the deadline, and the governor of Pennsylvania, is it Pennsylvania? Or Michigan, I'm sorry, possibly allowing ballots to come in after the deadline. So we as the people right now have to put aside whatever it is we got going on, and we got to focus on this voter fraud, these irregularities. Because if we don't do it, guys, we're not going to ever have another chance to do it if the Democrats, communism, socialism takes over the higher courts, and they pack the higher courts with these radical judges. We're having issues right now having free speech on social media. We're having issues right now, struggles with the irregularities with the voting. If we don't speak up now, as America doesn't speak up now, we may not ever have a chance. So our country's literally hanging by a thread. So, the legislature of each state upholds the constitutional authority. They do not need a court's approval for that. The legislature already has that. And so the state, unfortunately, below that, through corruption of the governor or secretary of state or the mayor, are changing the rules underneath, behind the scenes of the legislature to try to pass these shenanigan BS frauding tactics, and they want us to be quiet about it so we don't alert the legislature to say, look, we have an issue, we need a crackdown, and this election needs to be fair, and all legal votes need to be counted, and illegal votes, all the illegal votes need to be taken out. Or else we're going to find ourselves in a world of trouble by the same Democrats that are trying to dupe us and take over, like they've done in Venezuela and they've done in other parts of the country. George Soros, Biden, Hillary, Obama, and all these other Democrats, or Michael Bloomberg trying to raise millions of dollars to pay felons to vote, and cherry picking votes, paying felons to do it for Democrats, and they're doing that for people, for the domestic terrorists, these groups where they're attacking people. They're paying people who do drugs, people who are felons, to start attacking our very cities and businesses and citizens. So these Democrats, guys, are hell on wheels. We gotta let them know this isn't going down. And God, it is God's will, guys, for Trump to remain in office, but we gotta help fight for our rights, the rights that were given to us through the Constitution. We have to speak up. We have to stand tall. And if we don't stand tall for each other, we will not have an America. We're gonna all be in big trouble. And I was just getting stalked last night. I have a picture of this woman that's been on my ass. I'm going to make a separate video of that from the cult of Scientology. They're going to try to kidnap me. I'll talk about that more. All right, guys. I'll see you on the next video. Check your votes. Check your votes of your family members. You can go to My Voter Status California, My Voter Status Nevada, My Voter Status Michigan, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, whatever state you're in. Check your voter status, or check maybe some loved ones that maybe have passed away. See if somebody got a hold of their identity and fraudulently voted, and follow up with that with your state, and contact your state legislature. And there's an RNC number. You can contact the Republican Party, and phone number where you can go ahead and you can report that. Okay, it's very important. We dismiss every illegal vote, and we make sure every legal vote is counted. All right, guys. All right, take care of each other, everybody. I'll see you on the next video. And happy Tuesday. Bye, everyone. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Father Pavone. He's one of my new heroes. God bless everyone.